Wendy.
Okay, now it's time for me to ask questions.
Wow, Rex enters the scene. The whole dynamics change.
I have a whole list of questions here. I like what you said about marriage is not a business transaction. And I was listening to a podcast like yesterday, and I swear the guest said the same thing. Her name is Mary Stanford, and she was on the Godsplaining podcast. Have you listened to that, or are you follow her at all? No. Anyways,
no,
yeah,
not yet.
That's just was like, wow, I'm hearing the same message again and again. What was the catalyst, Wendy, for this study? Like, what piqued your interest and you go, I'm wondering what the effect is going on here?
Well, so at the Institute for Family Studies, we have this new initiative called Tech and Family. So we want to do really being one of the first people to study this and see how technology affects family. So a couple of years ago, when we did the survey, this was actually my exact request, because my boss was like, oh, there's nobody's interested in this AI as a partner. Like that's just unimaginable.
Ridiculous.
I was like, well, let's just do a survey, because I feel like there are some people are interested in this. Yeah, it was shocking. Like 25% of young people even think this could replace real life partner. And then I think it was about 10% they are open to having a AI partner. So that's really shocking to us. But the interesting thing is, I think the survey, we were trying to see whether using these electronic devices actually reduce the desire for young people to get married and have children. What we found out, it was actually there's no effect. So young people who are online, spending time on these devices, they still have a very strong desire to be married and, to have children, but they're just not doing the right thing to help them get there.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
That's fascinating. So people still have an innate want to engage socially, but there's a fear of doing it. So they're stepping into AI to fill that gap, but they still want physical human connection.
They still want that. They still want to be married. I think it's just hard. It's difficult to find someone.
And I think some of that is the risk that comes with it. You mentioned earlier, people are not dating as much because dating, it takes risk. It puts putting yourself out there, being in uncomfortable situations. But AI, no risk, no uncomfortable. Yeah, it's just me and this. They can tell me all kinds of support. Whereas dating, there's a risk of being turned down, or this person maybe doesn't like me. And why would I risk when I don't have to risk? And AI can just tell me how wonderful I am. So that's where I think some of this is this risk of being uncomfortable, this fear, of real relationships and the hurt that might come. Yeah.
And it's all a risk, isn't it? I mean, finding someone great is a risk still. Marriage is a risk. There just are no guarantees for any of us. But we have to work past our fears.
So much of our culture is saturated with instant gratification. I don't want, like Dave was saying, I don't want any risk. I just want what I want. I want the cookie and I'm done. I don't want to bake the cookie. I don't want to take any time with the cookie. Cookie done.
That's pornography.
Absolutely. That is my favorite.
Pornography as well. It's just,
And you were mentioning that, and that is the perfect parallel of what it is. It's emotional pornography. And people are just, jumping to the conclusion all of a sudden. What else? Was there anything else that was really revealing to you in this study, Wendy?
Because I've done it's funny, when I was preparing for this, I looked through, I was like, wow, I actually done quite a few things on this. Yes. I might need to do more. So I might need to kind of track this line and write a book or something. Yeah. So it is interesting. I think there's something we didn't talk about, which is a Gen Z and the youngest generation. They're in their 20s. I just see some bright bright future among this generation. Because I feel like it's just like we have gone to extreme to the point that, now we're going to another direction. Because you hear at least the Gen Z are trying to ditch the dating apps, and they're trying to the slogan is like the running clubs is the new dating app. And so they join the running clubs and join the communities, and so that they wanted to build real relationships. And it also, since Charlie Kirk and this whole thing about touching the grass, give someone a hug, I think it's become a thing among young people. I embrace this. This is a wonderful trend if we can continue.
That's so. Now, the study, was it mostly an older generation that was a little more open to this?
The study we did was among people ages 18 to 39. So it is still a younger. I call that Gen Z and millennials, the younger millennials. But I think that this trend that we talk about, I don't have statistics. It's just like people are, saying this, and I don't know if it's reflected in the population yet. But we hear this new trend. I'm hoping maybe, when we do a new survey or next year, we can actually see some trend changing. But it's hard because sometimes what's in the news and what's in the social media, it's just a few people, talking about that. And I'm not sure if it's like at the population level, people actually get the message. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of the younger generation too, is they're going back to churches. They're getting more involved in community organization in the sense of actually being social. And I think that would go along with what you're saying, is that the younger generation actually wants to touch the grass and talk to people.
Yeah. I hope so. Like for that, because I saw, that's my understanding too. Like younger people are more likely, to go to church, and young men specifically. But then I saw a study from Pew Research Center. They actually look at the data, I think as late as last year, to see what happened. Is it true that young people are more likely to go to church today? So what they found out was actually the overall trend is still going down. But for young men, their decline is slightly slower than young women. So like that's what you see, the gap is actually closing. So it used to be that young women, young women are more likely to go to church than young men. So now you don't find that gender difference anymore. Wow. So that's the statistics we see. Yeah. So at least it's interesting. Yeah.
Just one thing on that, Wendy and Dave and Rex, if you don't mind. So I can hear about that younger generation, and that's really good news. I love that there's some excitement still around intimacy and marriage, even though the marriage rate is going lower, and so is fertility. And I think we have a responsibility as older generations to speak positively of marriage, even if we are single or divorced or marriage wasn't happy, to still speak to them this enthusiasm of intimacy in marriage and how good it can be. There's more good information today than ever before about what makes marriage thrive. We have a responsibility.
Yeah. Yes. You just reminded me. I was thinking if I do another research down this line, I do think the marriage quality is very, very important, because a lot of people are saying, how bad is marriage, and then, how the marriage is, they got a divorce and they're not so happy and all that stuff. But I think it's really because they didn't have a good marriage. And so I feel like we really probably need to put our effort on strengthening the relationships. I think that's what you guys are doing. So I would like to check out the resources you just mentioned, because I think that's a very key component in this.
Yeah, there's a lot of media for decades now that have denigrated and talked down about marriage and joked about it. And marriage can be difficult, but it's also very rewarding when you really learn to get along with somebody. And there's a lot of self-reflection in marriage that I've learned. Maybe I'm not right all the time.
Maybe not. It's hard to face that though.
Yeah, that's right.
But as married people, we do better, right? We do better financially, emotionally, sexually. The pros are so much heavier on the marriage side. It's hard to deny in the research.
And our culture is so hyper individualized now, and it seems like social media has fed into that, and now AI is just amplifying it. How is this? Is AI interfering with marriages at all? Is it breaking up marriages or causing greater divides in marriages?
This, I've heard the news is similar to, people get married because AI. I've seen the news that someone, I don't know where, like in somewhere, not in the US, and they were so involved with AI, then they want to get a divorce, or their spouse want to get a divorce because, this person is so into AI. I can definitely see that because if you are turning your frustrations or your marriage problems to AI, and then AI is comforting you, like saying how wonderful you are, your spouse is the problem, whatever that the situation is, and it will create more problems. Yeah.
This is so fascinating. Do you think that there's anything else driving this pursuit towards AI and away from social interaction?
I don't know about AI, but we know the pornography is a huge industry. Online dating is a huge industry. These are all things that just consume our money, then they just make us addictive, and so that they can make money. So I think AI is probably down that line because, it's free. I think a lot of it is free, but I think if you want more advanced stuff, you have to pay. It's like, so they give you something free, so they actually hook you up for a higher priced product. So I think that's
drugs.
probably the same strategy. Yeah.
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 What they used to do with drugs, probably still do.
Oh, drugs. Yeah. I think, that's true. Yeah.
Very similar business model there. Here, try this. Oh, now you want more? Okay, it's going to cost you something. Oh, you were saying something, and I thought about this. It sounds like you were mentioning you were at a holiday gathering, and there was a TV on, and everyone was on a phone, and there was all these people in a room, and it made me think about, people really are trying to distract themselves from uncomfortable interactions with other humans. But I wonder if this is not really like a growing trend, but something that's kind of been in humanity for a long time, and just now it's easier to get distracted. Any thoughts on that from anyone?
Yeah, I don't think the brain doesn't like to be bored. The brain likes stimulus. It likes to process. Yeah, it loves novelty, right? It's afraid of threats. And so all of this type of is something new. It's curious. It loves to keep going to discover and find out. That's why we keep scrolling on Instagram or whatever. It's like, oh, that one's worth it. Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah. Oh, and this is funny. And this, the dopamine hit and all of that. So I think it's this fear of uncomfortable. It's this drive for this, to feel good. This quick, as you mentioned, kind of just the hedonic, right? Me, life of ease and comfort and easy companionship. It's all just easy.
I also do think human nature is that we want to seek connection. We want to be connected because we are social animals. We, deep down, we want strong connection, but it's just hard. Real life relationship is not easy. So you want to go to the shortcut when it, goes to, find those online easy things.
Yeah, we want the connection, but we also want affirmation. And it
the
seems
ease
like
of that connection. Yeah.
The AI is really exploiting that insecurity.
Yeah. Oh, and it's an artificial connection. Yeah, this is not real.
Oh my gosh. Well, I remember Jordan Peterson would say he would talk to people sometimes and he would just give them some positive affirmation, and people would just, like, a lot of them would just collapse and cry because they wanted that so bad and weren't getting it anywhere. And I thought, man, that's fascinating. And now that I'm hearing this, it kind of puts a puzzle piece together. Like, people are just, they want somebody to tell them they're nice, they're pretty, they're good. They're okay. They get along. This is their group. They can connect and identify, but sadly it's fake, and we have to redevelop that skill to the adventure of actually having a relationship and the pitfalls of that. I feel like this is kind of revealing too something maybe insidious in our culture that's becoming. It seems like with the greater secularization of Western culture, the more distant we're becoming from each other and kind of damaging ourselves, because I would think that this is going to hurt relationships and birth rates.
Yeah. Yeah. Because as marriage rate is hitting record low, we know that fertility rate is hitting record low as well. So these two go hand in hand.
You said too, though, the research, because I've heard different things. I'm going to have to go look into this more, but that the research was showing that marriage is still declining, but even like church attendance or some type of religious affiliation is still kind of going down too, right?
I think overall, yes, that's what we see. Even though we see this gap between young men and women are closing, but overall church attendance is going down. Yes.
That's interesting. I really liked your recommendation of just being more patient, and Dave said being intentional. And I think those go hand in hand. I think that's what people really need, especially in marriage and their regular social interactions, is be patient and intentional. Wendy, I could talk for another 3 hours about this.
Yeah, this has been so helpful. You've been more than generous with your time today, Wendy. Thank you so much.
I really look forward to any more papers or research you produce. So
yes,
be in touch with us, Wendy. Please be in touch.
Yeah,
yeah,
I will. Yeah,
write that book.
Yeah,
okay.
Write that book.
Yes. I was, I'm thinking about either something along those lines. I also am interested in this whole thing about, it's hard for women, with higher education, women who are highly educated, professional. This group of women it's so hard for them to find a spouse. And it's not only in the US, it's just like everywhere. So I was thinking that is another topic I can pursue too, but it's more narrow. But that's really interesting. Yeah.
I'm excited. Let me know when you publish it, because I will buy it.
Okay.
And I will read it.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's so fun talking with you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Hey, do us a favor and take a second to subscribe to our podcast and the Utah Marriage Commission YouTube channel at Utah Marriage Commission, where you can watch this and every episode of the show. Be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment, and share this episode with a friend. You can also follow and interact with us on Instagram at Stronger Marriage Life and Facebook at Stronger Marriage. So be sure to share with us which topics you loved or which guests we should have on the show next. If you want even more resources to improve your marriage or relationship connection, visit strongermarriage.org, where you'll find free workshops, e-courses, in-depth webinars, relationship surveys, and more. Each episode of Stronger Marriage Connection is hosted and sponsored by the Utah Marriage Commission at Utah State University. And finally, a big thanks to our producer, Rex Polanis, and the team at Utah State University, and you, our audience. You make this show possible. The opinions, findings, conclusions, and recommendations expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views of the Utah Marriage Commission.